You're about to hear never-before-released cold case confessions recorded during recent in-custody interviews with Matthew Mueller, the serial predator who kidnapped Denise Huskins and has now confessed to decades of similar home invasions and sexual assaults.
We're back in Tahoe, not far from where this all started. What's it like for you to be in this room this close to where you were held hostage?
Yeah.
At a law enforcement conference in South Lake Tahoe.
It's bittersweet to be able to be here and reclaim this as something positive.
Denise Huskins is no longer a name on a case file. She's an expert.
This was actually something quite common, too common, the disbelief of victims and survivors.
The woman once discredited by authorities is now helping to train them, alongside her now husband, Aaron Quinn, and the two officers who finally believed them.
She's dead.
Together, this team helped solve at least 4 cold case crimes this year. Crimes that may have been solved a decade ago if only someone had listened sooner.
They did not come into your house and kidnap her and take her for ransom.
March 2015, intruders did blindfold and drug the couple in their Vallejo home, then kidnapped, raped, and held Denise for ransom while police falsely accused Aaron of killing her.
Okay, how do I make it so you look like a monster?
Instead of searching for the kidnapper,
it is Mr. Quinn and Ms. Huskins that owes this community an apology.
When the kidnapper released Denise, police accused the couple of orchestrating a hoax.
The members of our community are safe.
They weren't.
The real tragedy is now we know there's 2 other families that Mueller terrorized and attacked because these investigators had blinders on.
2 months later, their attackers struck again in nearby Dublin, California, leading police to Matthew Mueller's Tahoe cabin, where he held Denise captive, and where then rookie detective Misty Caruso found the crucial evidence.
And my heart stopped, and I was like, oh my God, like she has long blonde hair, and I have goggles with, literally it was one strand of blonde hair that I was like.
1 month later, Denise and Aaron were finally vindicated. Mueller was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison, but the nightmare wasn't over.
At one point, he lay down on the bed next to me and then just started telling me how he...
2015 interrogation recordings revealed Denise warned investigators a decade ago that Mueller told her there were other victims.
Like you said, like they've probably done this before.
But for 10 years, they couldn't get anyone to investigate.
It's terrifying to me to think of how many victims there might still be out there that are living in fear.
These are horrible, horrible crimes.
Then, last year's most-watched Netflix docuseries chronicled Denise and Aaron's American nightmare. And small-town Seaside Police Chief Nick Borges reached out to them on Instagram.
Denise was first to respond back to me, and I was shocked that she would even speak to anyone in law enforcement.
He organized a law enforcement speaking engagement for Denise, Aaron, and Misty, where they met El Dorado County DA Vern Pearson. What began as a conversation soon became a mission to bring closure to Mueller's other victims.
I remember her saying, but we're not law enforcement, what do we do? And that's kind of where I said, well, let me try to help.
But he didn't have jurisdiction.
Wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney's Office, never heard back.
So, working with Denise, Aaron, and Misty, he wrote directly to Matthew Mueller.
What did it feel like for you to have these 2 law enforcement officials listen and believe you?
I mean, it meant the world having a chief of police and then a DA with jurisdiction to actually look into something and say, like, we see you, we hear you, we believe you, and we want to fight for you is like, why does it have to be so hard to get that?
After 10 years, their persistence finally paid off. For the first time, we're showing you Mueller's cold case confessions from behind bars, limited excerpts to protect victim privacy and ongoing investigations. First, Mueller confessed in a letter to 2 home invasion attempted rapes in Santa Clara County in 2009. Police questioned Mueller at the time, but said they didn't have enough evidence to charge him. Despite similarities to Denise's case 7 years later, they never reopened those cold cases or retested Mueller's DNA.
It's fair to say that both law enforcement agencies in our county that handled these rape cases in 2009 and the DA's office, there are things that we would do differently and do better today. That's because of the Quinns.
This year, Santa Clara County DA Jeff Rosen reopened the cold cases and finally tested Mueller's DNA, which he acknowledges was justice delayed for the victims and Denise and Aaron. When Mueller was finally sentenced to 2 life terms for those 16-year-old crimes,
It came the week of the 10-year anniversary of our kidnapping. So it was very like, wow, like just looking back and all that we had gone through and everything that it took to get to this place.
And that was just the beginning. Next, Mueller confessed to an unreported 2015 home invasion robbery in Contra Costa County, just 2 weeks after he released Denise and months before he was arrested. But in order to bring closure to those victims, detectives would have to find them. Chief Borges enlisted DA Pearson, who technically had jurisdiction in Denise's case.
She was sexually assaulted in our county.
So he got access to Mueller in prison along with the FBI.
Tied them up, went to the son's room, woke him up.
In recorded confessions, Mueller describes how he convinced the family to keep the crime a secret, threatening his accomplices would find and harm their kids.
There's very good reason if they didn't report it.
He said he didn't know the family's address.
We get him to draw a diagram.
So Mueller drew this crude map, but it was a key piece of evidence that led detectives to the victims.
There was a ladder, and I threw it into the ravine that was pretty much directly behind their property.
Pearson had a hunch.
What if that ladder's still there?
He credits Contra Costa Sheriff's detectives for hiking into the woods at night based on a hunch from a rural county DA they'd never met.
About 2 hours later, I get a text pictures of this ladder from a crime that had never been reported that took place 9 years earlier.
Contra Costa DA Dinah Becton stresses this one wasn't a cold case.
We had no knowledge that they had suffered this horrible crime.
They found the victims still living in fear from a crime that wouldn't have even been investigated without Denise and Aaron and the officers who finally believed them. Mueller got another life sentence, but his confessions didn't end there.
One of the most striking things is finding out how young he was when he started. So age 16, attacking a couple.
Mueller describes in chilling detail how he ambushed a couple camping in Sacramento County back in 1993 when he was still a teen.
I ordered them out of the tent. I told them I had a gun. I believe I tied them both.
At the time, police didn't believe the victims. Like Denise and Aaron, they suspected the boyfriend.
Through Denise's and Aaron's persistence, we were able to bring justice to other victims.
Last month, Sacramento County DA Tin Ho secured a 4th life sentence for Mueller. The culmination of 6 crimes, more than a dozen victims, 32 years of unanswered questions and justice delayed. Cases that could have been solved sooner. Victims who could have been spared. But thanks to Denise and Aaron, they were not forgotten.
So it means the world to be invited to come to these things, to have law enforcement care and work with us.
Together, they're writing their next chapter, using trauma to teach, turning pain into purpose, proving that when survivors are believed, cold cases don't have to stay cold. Denise and Aaron Quinn are the California District Attorney's Witnesses of the Year, not for what they endured, but for what they made possible. Denise and Aaron are now working with law enforcement to sponsor legislation that they hope will address some of the failings highlighted by their case. For instance, Denise's rape kit wasn't even tested until this year. They'd also like to see every officer get better training on how to work with victims and suspects to help solve crimes.
You know, Denise and Aaron, I can't thank you enough. On behalf of the Sacramento victims, we cannot thank you enough. We owe you a debt of gratitude because without your persistence, without your courage, they would have never obtained justice.
Denise and Aaron, thank you. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for continuing the fight to be able to not only bring justice and closure for yourself, but to make things better in the criminal justice system.
I'm sorry. And thank you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for giving law enforcement a second chance. And because you didn't give up, other victims have been saved.
I want to thank you for persevering all these years and ensuring the full accountability of Mr. Mueller. It's been my honor and privilege to work with you over the last year and a half during this reinvestigation.
I've always known that these two individuals, because of their perseverance, their heart, their character, their passion, that they would help change law enforcement at a national level. And every single day you see them doing that. They become extreme advocates for survivors, And to receive such a prestigious award like this, there's no two people more deserving than they are.
What you survived, what you endured, it's beyond words. But what truly sets you apart is the way that you've turned your pain into power. Your perseverance through trauma, through doubt, through every obstacle has inspired not just people that are closest to you, but people around the world on so many different levels. Aaron, your unwavering support, Denise, your fierce strength, and together your absolute love, not only for yourselves, each other, your family, but humanity altogether. That love carried you both through the darkest moments and into the light of justice. Your courage helped bring truth forward, and your voices are helping protect others. From the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of every survivor who feels a little less alone, congratulations. You didn't just survive, you fought back, and we see you, we honor you, we thank you, and we absolutely love you. So cheers and enjoy the moment.